Welcome to today's Thursday live session where we look at trading psychology. Today, the topic is mastering the mental game, and we are looking at a comprehensive guide to the psychological principles of successful trading, and this is based on the work of Mark Douglas. Okay, just to introduce the topic a bit, we want to look at mastering the mental game. And looking at Mark Douglas himself, he revolutionized how traders approach markets by focusing on the mental aspects that determine success or failure. So, in this presentation, we're going to be exploring the psychological foundations that separate consistent winners from the 95% who struggle. I'm sure by now it is a known fact that 90% lose 90% of their capital within the first 90 days of trading. So, we're just going to try and see how to become part of the 10%, even if you are making small profits. That consistency in wins is what we are trying to go for from a psychological standpoint. Who is Mark Douglas? Just a brief introduction to him and his work. He's the author of groundbreaking books. One common one that we already are reading amongst ourselves is Trading in the Zone. We also have The Disciplined Trader, and these have become essential reading for serious traders worldwide. He's also a psychology pioneer as the first person to systematically explore the crucial relationship between a trader's psychology and consistent profitability in the markets. He's also a mental discipline coach. He's dedicated his career to teaching traders how belief systems, psychological consistency, and emotional control can determine trading outcomes. Why does psychology matter? This is according to his book, by the way. Everything that we are speaking to today is found in the book Trading in the Zone. So psychology matters because markets are inherently uncertain, meaning there is no amount of analysis that can predict with certainty what will happen next. You might be a guru, a technical analysis guru, a price action guru, but the markets are uncertain by nature. Emotions hijack decision making. So fear and greed can override rational thinking at critical moments. And then 95% of traders fail due to psychological factors. Trust me, it is not because you lack information or a good system. One way or the other, the strategy that you make use of works in certain market conditions. But because you cannot execute consistently, you find yourself being part of the 95% of traders who fail. So your mind is either your greatest asset or your biggest liability when it comes to the markets. Now, what is the core problem that traders face? There's a quote in the book which says the best traders think differently than the rest. And you find that the real issue is not the lack of market knowledge or poor trading systems, even insufficient technical analysis. You find that the real issue most of the times is lack of emotional discipline, an inconsistent mindset, and an inability to follow your own rules. You have rules in place which you intend to follow, but you never follow them. Now, some of the challenges that come on a psychological level are the fear of losing, that is, the anxiety about financial loss, which leads to hesitation, missed opportunities, as well as cutting winners too early. Overconfidence is another, where after a string of wins, traders often feel invincible and take excessive risk that violate their trading plan. Plan abandonment, the inability to stick with a proven strategy when emotions run during high market volatility. You find that you have a certain strategy, but you're always strategy hopping. Some of you have not stuck to one specific strategy over the course of the years that you've been trading. You've been busy strategy hopping. Whatever has come on YouTube, if someone introduces some new concept, you're quick to then jump onto it instead of sticking to a plan that is proven, that is back tested with historical data, and there's a probability or an edge of actually giving you something. FOMO, which is the fear of missing out, the urge to jump into trades without proper setup or analysis, often leading to impulsive decisions. We also have revenge trading, the destructive attempt to immediately recover losses by taking additional, usually poorly planned trades, as well as avoiding responsibility, which is blaming external factors for losses or taking credit only for wins, and that prevents learning and growth. So the 4 primary fears that one can experience in the market: losing money is 1, being wrong is 2, missing out is 3, and leaving money on the table. So with losing money, you're going to find that the most primal fear that causes traders to exit profitable positions too early or to avoid valid setups is the fear of losing money. There is the fear of being wrong, the ego-driven fear that makes traders hold losing positions too long. So it's not going in your direction, but you keep holding because you hope the market will prove you right eventually. Missing out, that is the anxiety about missed opportunities, and that drives traders to enter positions without proper analysis, as well as leaving money on the table, which is the regret that causes premature profit taking and usually prevents letting winners run to their full potential. So according to Mark Douglas, these fears are created by our past conditioning and belief systems and not by the market itself. The 5 fundamental truths that are available to us: number 1 is anything can happen. So as you trade, you should be expecting any outcome. Markets are driven by countless variables that make absolute certainty impossible, and that you do not need to know what's going to happen next in order to make money. So consistent profitability comes from playing probabilities and not predictions. Remember, we are not magicians. We work on a game of numbers. We try to use probabilities and not a prediction. There is also a random distribution between wins and losses. So any single trade can be a winner or a loser, regardless of how perfect the setup appears. An edge is also just a higher probability. So if you've got a trading edge, you've got a statistical advantage that works over a series of trades. An edge is not a guarantee. It's just a statistical advantage that you possess, and that every moment is unique. So market conditions never repeat exactly, and this requires flexibility as well as the presence of mind during each and every trade. So to develop a winning mindset, you need to become consistently profitable by releasing the need to be always right. You need to focus on executing your system perfectly rather than trying to predict market direction. You need to embrace uncertainty, and you need to accept what you cannot control in the market, only your reactions to it. You also need to focus on execution and not outcomes. That is to judge your success by how well you have followed your plan, not by your P&L. And you also need to think in probabilities and not guarantees. So when you see a setup, there should be a high probability that it will play out, but also being aware to the fact that it might not play out in some cases. So you need to understand that trading is a game of mathematical expectancy over many trades. Now, the traits of a successful trader, if we base on Mark Douglas, we see that these characteristics define traders who achieve consistent profitability. Number 1, we've got balanced confidence. That is to maintain self-assurance without crossing into dangerous overconfidence or arrogance. Usually when you're on a winning streak, you start to feel good about yourself and you start over-risking, and that results in loss. Process orientation, which evaluates success based on adherence to trading rules rather than the short-term profit and loss. When you measure your success, you're going to measure it based on: have you been able to properly follow your strategy that you have set for yourself? We've got emotional detachment. We spoke about this earlier. It's in one of our previous videos, where we view trades objectively without becoming emotionally invested in the outcome of the market. We've got unwavering discipline. That is to follow a well-defined trading plan with consistency even when it feels uncomfortable. We also have complete responsibility, where we take full ownership of all results and not start to blame people. Some of you are blaming Jerome Powell. Some of you are blaming Trump. Some of you are blaming the war in Iran and Israel. You need to take full ownership of all your results and recognize that every outcome provides valuable feedback. So these traits are skills that can be developed through deliberate practice and not innate talents. I hope some of the content from today helps you in one way or the other to improve your psychology as you approach the markets. All the best.